Phoebe Cates is an actress who brightened up the screen in the 1980s, and then, just as quickly, disappeared from Hollywood. It's a story that has intrigued movie fans even decades later. From her unforgettable red bikini scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High to the charm she brought to Gremlins, Phoebe was more than just a pretty face. She was the heart of many classic 80s films. But what drove this shining star to turn her back on the spotlight at the pinnacle of her career? Was this a conscious decision, or did something happen behind the scenes? In this video, we take you deep into the life of Phoebe Cates, from her humble beginnings and meteoric rise to fame to the untold story of how she decided to leave Hollywood behind. We start with the beginning, New York City, where a young girl full of dreams and talent was about to make her first steps into the spotlight. Phoebe Bell Cates was born on July 16, 1963 in New York City. Her father, Joseph Cates, was a highly recognized producer of television and a Broadway figure who, in his heyday, worked on many classical productions. He produced some revolutionary programs, and he has hobnobbed with just about everybody there is in show business. Her uncle, Gilbert Cates, was also an influence in the entertainment world, as a film director and producer of the Academy Awards several times. With all that level of creativity and success in the air, Phoebe had a front row seat to the world of show business. Despite this being the case, Phoebe's journey was never handed to her. It was simply her own natural talent and determination that set her apart. When she was a child, Phoebe was a dreamer. She had a curious nature and an imagination that would take her to very far-off worlds. In due time, her love for books became the entrance to all kinds of adventures. Hours of reading either thrilling adventure or an important, very personal drama of human emotions. Such a love for storytelling one day became the bedrock upon which her acting career was built. While Phoebe loved to read and dream, it was the dance that captured her soul. From a very young age, she showed an uncanny talent for ballet. For Phoebe, dance was not just a hobby, but it was her passion, her escape, and her way of expressing emotions words could not capture. Her family recognized this potential and encouraged her to pursue it. She attended the prestigious Joffrey Ballet School in New York, one of the top ballet institutions in the world. Here, Phoebe devoted herself to rigorous training, putting in long hours in the studio perfecting her craft. For years, Phoebe dreamed of becoming a professional dancer, and it seemed like her future was set. But then came a devastating twist that changed everything. After sustaining a knee injury, Phoebe was forced to give up her dreams of ballet. It was a heartbreaking moment, one that could have crushed her spirit. Instead of quitting, though, Phoebe just turned this setback into a positive opportunity. Little did she know that the fates had quite an entirely new path laid out for her, one which in very little time was to make her name ring throughout the world. At the age of 17, everything suddenly changed in Phoebe's life. Still healing from her ballet dreams, she was discovered by a modeling scout. With her elfin features, striking eyes, and natural charm, Phoebe had all the makings of a star. She was snatched up by a modeling agency in no time, and practically overnight, her face was everywhere. She started appearing on the covers of major fashion magazines and in high-profile advertising campaigns. Her effortless elegance made her a standout in the competitive world of modeling, and she soon became one of the most sought-after faces in the industry. But modeling wasn't what Phoebe wanted for her life. While many young women would have been thrilled by the glamorous lifestyle, Phoebe wanted to act to tell stories, to be the character, and to connect with audiences on a deeper level. And so, she made a bold decision. She would transition from modeling to acting. It wasn't an easy choice, but Phoebe's determination was unshakable. She began auditioning for roles, hoping to prove herself in the world of film. In 1982, Phoebe got the role that would change her life forever. She was cast as Linda Barrett in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, a coming-of-age comedy that captured the highs and lows of teenage life in the 80s. At the time, no one could have predicted that the film would become an instant classic, but more importantly, no one could have predicted the impact Phoebe's performance would have. There was Linda Barrett, who portrayed confidence, beauty, and undeniable charm. She was the character that everyone remembered. And then, of course, there was the infamous red bikini scene, a moment that would go down in movie history. During that now oh-so-famous scene, Phoebe's character comes out of the swimming pool in slow motion, in a red bikini that turned iconic. It was not only a defining moment for Phoebe, but for the 80s cinema in general. Fans were in awe, and Phoebe Cates became an overnight sensation. However, the scene wasn't without its critics. Some said it was gratuitous and over-sexualized. Others saw it as a symbol of the era, one of freewheeling, bold storytelling. Regardless of the debate, one thing was for sure: Phoebe had left her mark. Literally overnight, she went from being an aspiring actress to one of Hollywood's most talked about stars. She was in high demand by directors and producers alike, and the public simply couldn't get enough of her. Fast Times at Ridgemont High made her career take flight, thrusting her into even more major opportunities. But while the world was busy falling in love with Phoebe Cates, the actress herself stayed grounded. Unlike so many rising stars who get swept up in fame, Phoebe stayed true to herself, something that would come to define her career and her ultimate decision to step away. With her breakout role of Linda Barrett in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Phoebe Cates became one of Hollywood's brightest rising stars. Producers, directors, and casting agents just couldn't seem to get enough of her, and it wasn't actually because she was beautiful. Phoebe had a genuine charm and a relatability that set her apart from other actresses during her time. She soon received a role in the 1984 horror comedy Gremlins by Joe Dante. The film was an instant hit in which some creatures run amok in a small town. Phoebe was Kate Berenger, a more down-to-earth and amiable character in the movie, adding emotions to the film. Unlike her Fast Times role, where Phoebe's character leaned on youthful allure, Kate Berenger allowed her to show her range as an actress. She balanced humor and vulnerability, making audiences connect with her performance. Gremlins wasn't just a box office hit, it became a cultural phenomenon. Fans fell in love with the film's quirky tone, and Phoebe's performance stood out as one of its highlights. Following Gremlins, Phoebe continued to take on diverse roles. In Private School, 1983, she showcased her comedic timing. In Bright Lights, Big City, 1988, a drama about addiction and disillusionment in New York, Phoebe gave a more mature and introspective performance. She even starred in Shag, 1989, a nostalgic coming-of-age film about four friends seeking adventure. Each of these roles sealed her as a talented actress who could do comedy, drama, and anything in between. She had the looks of a star, but what made Phoebe different was that she could make her character so real and relatable. By the late 80s, Phoebe Cates had achieved what most young actresses only fantasized about. She was cherished by fans, respected among filmmakers, and celebrated as one of Hollywood's most promising talents. Still, when it seemed like no one could ever stop her from rising, the unexpected happened. She fell in love, and in that very instant, changed everything. In 1984, Phoebe Cates auditioned for a role in The Big Chill, a film about a group of college friends reuniting after years apart. Though she didn't get the part, her audition did introduce her to a man who would change the course of her life, Kevin Kline. Kevin Kline was already a well-established actor with a reputation for being one of the most talented performers of his generation. A classically trained actor who attended the prestigious Juilliard School, Kevin had starred in critically acclaimed films like Sophie's Choice, 1982, where he delivered a powerful and memorable performance. At the time, Kevin was 16 years older than Phoebe. On paper, they seemed like complete opposites. Kevin was serious, reserved, and intensely focused on his craft. Phoebe was light, youthful, and vibrant. But despite their differences, the two connected on a level that neither of them expected. Kevin later admitted that he was not sure they would have anything to talk about, considering how different their lives had been. But then he got to know her, and Kevin thought Phoebe's wit, intelligence, and down-to-earth personality were qualities he deeply admired. The two started dating, and over the course of years, their relationship started to blossom. By 1989, Phoebe and Kevin decided to tie the knot. Their marriage was private and intimate, reflecting their desires to keep their personal life away from the limelight.